My next guest for Sea Tales is Mr. Floyd Woodcock. Is that right, sir?
That's right, Mark.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Could you tell us a little bit about your past experience in boating, sir?
Well, basically, I've been involved in boating since I was a youngster, but as a boat owner, I've been a boat owner for the past 18 years, and I've owned 4 boats, 3 power boats and 1 sailboat, plus a few miscellaneous things like dinghies and whatnot. So I've had some experience at boating. I hope will be appropriate for your purpose.
I'm sure you do have a sea tale for us, a true story with a safety message. Could you tell our viewers one?
I sure do. We do a lot of cruising with the club. In our club cruises, we frequently have.
That's being Pacific Corinthian Yacht Club, where we're filming today.
We have 10 or 15 boats, or sometimes more. We'll go on a weekend cruise, and then each summer we have a 2-week cruise. It was on one of these 2-week cruises that my sea tale occurred. We were in a boat that it's the boat I have now, which is a 41-foot rough water power boat, and it was new to me at the time. It was my first year with the boat, and I was getting used to things. And one of the characteristics of this particular boat is that it's a diesel-powered boat, and it has 2 fuel tanks. And I had been cruising for the best part of 2 weeks and had what I thought was plenty of fuel on board, because it's a very economical boat. And I was on my way from Catalina to Oxnard. And I had gotten just about halfway, and all of a sudden my engine acted funny and then stopped. Now, I can tell you it's a depressing feeling when you're about 16 miles from Catalina and 20 miles from land to have your engine stop. And at the time I thought, I had no idea what this was. I thought perhaps I had dirty fuel or something like that. So I radioed to my fellow boaters that I was stopped in the water and was checking out a fuel filter.
Kind of a little courtesy message.
Yeah, so they know why I was dead in the water, and that and they would keep track of my progress after that, which is one of the benefits of course cruising in groups. So I crawled into my engine room and proceeded to pull out the fuel filter, and yes, it turned out it was very dirty. So I thought that was the problem. So I changed the fuel filter and started the thing up, radioed to my buddies and said, everybody's going great, I'm underway again. Well, that was good. It went about 15 minutes and stopped again. This time I was a little more concerned. So I, again, radioed my friends and said, I got something a little more serious. Would somebody mind hanging around? Because by this time had gone off and left me. And one of our friends came back and stood by whilst I crawled to my engine room some more. And finally, after some period of time, we decided the best thing to do was to tow the boat to Marina del Rey, which was the nearest place I could get some service, and which I would say was about 20 miles from there. So he took me under tow very kindly while I continued to work on my engine. Well, a few miles out of Marina del Rey, to make a long story short, I sorted out
3 minutes left.
I sorted out what the problem was, and the problem was this: with 2 fuel tanks, I'm feeding fuel from both tanks at the same time. The diesel engine, however, doesn't run very well on air, so as soon as one of the tanks got low enough that it sucked a little bit of air, it stopped the engine. And it turned out that I had unbalanced my fuel tanks over the course of this 2-week cruise, and one tank had a good deal less fuel than the other, and it wasn't recognizable to me until the engine stopped. And after a good deal of sweating in the engine room, I finally figured out what was wrong, and started the engine, put into Marina del Rey on my own power, so I felt a little better about that. But there's a couple things about the story that are important for boaters. First of all, be sure you have enough fuel, and be sure you know how your boat consumes fuel, as to how it draws fuel from the tanks, and even more importantly, make sure you know where you are, because when your boat breaks down, it's very important to know where you are. And in this case, we changed course and headed for Marina del Rey, and which was we were out of sight of land at the time, and required some precision in knowing exactly where we were at the point where we were starting to tow.
Well, I see we have about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left. So it goes back to what a lot of people say is when you get your boat, or if you get a new boat, to really become familiar with every
Absolutely.
inch of that boat.
Absolutely. It's
and
important
look through every
that-
crack.
It's very important that you understand how all the systems work, how the engine operates, where all the filters are, where all the valves are, and what those valves do.
I know on our power boat, I went out and it ran fine for quite a while. Then all of a sudden it quit, and it was just the tiniest filter in the carburetor. But it's a matter of knowing what it is,
Yes.
and at that time I didn't have spares, so I cleaned it out. I actually dried it out and tapped it out, and it worked fine, and got me back. Because it was kind of a demo ride thing where we
Yes.
hadn't been able to go through the whole boat and
Yes.
put everything in the world on it that we'd like to have. But to know your boat, know every inch of it, all the equipment is so important that I don't think I could stress it enough to the new boater out there.
Yes,
who
and
buys a
carry
boat.
spares.
And carry spares of a whole variety of things.
Therefore,
I think one of the best ways to take care of this is talk to other boaters. Go out down on the docks and talk to as many people that are into boating as you can possibly find, as well as the educational courses.
absolutely.
And the Yacht Club, of course, offers that, a lot of experienced people with a lot of knowledge and what have
There's
you.
always, with the yacht club, there's always somebody to help you out when you get into some mischief. It's the kind I described.
But the best thing is preventative maintenance, and of course, having the people to talk to is quite an asset. On that note, I appreciate you being here,
Sure,
sir.
thank you, Mark. Enjoyed it.
And I appreciate you being here. This has been Captain's Log, Sea Tales, true stories that could save your property and perhaps your life or that of a loved one.